Hello, I'm Simon Piff, the lead IT security consultant with IDC Asia Pacific. I'm here with Jeffrey Cott from RSA, and we're going to discuss the RSA's thoughts and opinions around some of the predictions that we've just put forward for 2016. So one of the things that IDC has predicted is this growth in use of biometrics for authentication of transactions. Is this something that you see happening? Is this something that RSA is looking at and agreeing with?
Well, first of all, we've long expected the third factor to be available for authentication. It's just that technology wasn't readily available. We think about wanting to do, I would say, fingerprint. In the past, you need a USB dongle, you need it everywhere, but it's not prevalent. I think in recent years, that became available with the growth of smartphones. Because with smartphones, you've got a fingerprint sensor, we've got a camera that you can use for facial recognition as well as IVIN verification. And I believe the smartphone has triggered the availability of biometrics authentication to the masses. So funny you ask, we did launch a new offering earlier this year called VR Access, and that allows us to use biometrics such as fingerprint as well as IVIN authentication as mechanisms to your cloud-based applications as well as your infrastructure. Okay,
but is RSA relying on the fact that the phone can authenticate my fingerprint and my eye, and then that just assumes that that device is going to be then authenticated, or is there something else?
Well, we're not really looking at the device. It's not that we are trusting the device. The device is just a second factor. So the so-called the IVIN verification as well as a fingerprint provides the third factor. That means I'm not just trusting the device, I'm also trusting, well, the authentication factor allows the application or the organization to determine, should I trust this person based on what I'm seeing on his fingerprint and his eye, on top of the device, on top of the password. So you now have a more stringent way to verify a user. Right. Rather than just a yes or no.
Sure. So that's quite in-depth multi-factor authentication then.
Exactly, and we believe that's what the future is about. Multi-factor authentication from any device to any platform.
It's interesting you say any platform. I mean, we know that cloud service providers for the most part are secure, although the prediction we have about more than 50% of web security coming from the cloud in the near future. In Asia, the concept of cloud and secure doesn't seem to have landed very well. So, I mean, what can we talk about? How can we leverage this authentication process with regards to being more secure and working with the cloud?
Well, I think if we look at cloud-based application security, we really need to look at two facets. The first facet is the cloud-based application security itself. How secure is the application, how much vulnerabilities and how easily they are to be exploited. And the second factor being the users and the user authentication. Today, if you look at most of the data breach and the security concern is actually around the user and the authentication. Because if I can steal your credentials, I can go into application and take all the data, why would I even need to bother trying to circumvent your application security? Bear in mind, most cloud-based services do have some kind of security controls as well as security operating behind. So it's a lot harder to compromise the application versus just compromising the user. And prior to today, if you look at say 3-5 years ago, most cloud-based applications are only reliant on passwords. But with the rise of the biometrics that we talked about earlier, you now have a more seamless authentication mechanism over multi-factor into all these cloud-based applications. So we believe that's going to be a game changer. And with that, with a better ease of mind for the users, they are more likely to adopt these solutions.
Okay, so we have the potential in the future to have multi-factor authentication that can also move away from password-based, but would span both internal on-premise as well as cloud-based applications.
Yes, it will cover both on-prem and cloud-based applications. It's probably going to start from the cloud because most cloud-based applications are web-based, and with that you have SAML, you have the mobile, it's easier to work, versus on-prem, some of these do have very legacy systems that are thick client, not so easy to embrace, but there are workarounds.
Okay, so a very interesting future in this authentication space.
Looking forward to it.
Great.